I've been so bad.
Jesse Jackson. He was ubiquitous. He was impact. The last question the interviewer asked me, it's hard. I'm usually doing an interview. I'm not the person usually being asked the questions. And so I said that, keep hope alive. And that he just talked about the importance. The struggle continues. And as long as there's hope, the struggle continues. So, but that observation today, I was just looking like going on Facebook. It's like, oh, he knew him. He knew him. Oh, he knew him. He knew him. So, Jesse Lewis Jackson, Senior, he'll be missed. He's missed already. Um, Today's book, actually, it's two books today. Um, what happened there? Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe. Now, a black person didn't read, right? But this particular book is actually based on a book written by Josiah Henson. And she used Josiah Henson's his journey through enslavement to ultimate freedom in Canada, and he was the basis for that. I'm getting ready to order his book, The Life of Josiah Henson, and there's and we were just talking about all the movies and stuff we go on Prime and Netflix. Go if you have Prime Video, please, 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 go get or watch the video Redeeming Uncle Tom. And it really talks about the life of Josiah Henson. And it was, I had a choice I didn't go. Had an opportunity to go hear Angela Davis. I didn't last night. Actually, I watched this documentary. And it is, first of all, and me and Michelle were having this conversation when she finished her program yesterday about this idea of enslavement and the brutality and the inhumanity of enslavement. And so I'm not the person who will want to go and watch 12 Years a Slave or, just because of generational trauma that it elicits when you watch such a movie. But his story is an incredible story. So I wanted to just give you a little background on who he was. He was born in into slavery um, in Maryland. And that's why I think we should watch this documentary, because there were some things that I did not know. Like if you were enslaved in Maryland, if you were enslaved in parts of Kentucky, other states, um, it was a different it wasn't as brutal and cruel as the enslavement in Mississippi and Louisiana and Alabama, right? And there's a term that I heard in this documentary called being sold south, right? It was the dread of enslaved individuals, enslaved Africans, to be sold south, because to be sold south means that you're going through enslavement is difficult enough, but then you're going into a brutal enslavement where they're basically working you literally to death. And so he in his narrative, he talks about seeing his mother was being raped by an overseer, and his father went after the overseer, and he put hands on the overseer, and he escaped for a little bit. They bring him back and talk about the brutality of the beating he took. I think he took something like 50 lashes. They cut. It was just brutal. And he said that his father was a broken man, and then his father then was sold to another enslaver. So you get a sense of the brutality of enslavement. Um, and so it works out that Josiah Henson is sold to this family. I think it was the Kelly family in Maryland, and how he worked his way up to overseer, right? Actually, he busted an overseer stealing, and he snitched on him, and he ended up getting the job. Um, and so he's famous because it's the Kellys. So they had a plantation in Maryland. They had a plantation. Another brother had plantation in Kentucky. The brother in Maryland was dealing with financial difficulties. So what he did was he had 18 slaves. And so he was going to move those slaves to his brother. And so Josiah Henson had the responsibility of taking those slaves from Maryland to Kentucky. When you get to Cincinnati, Ohio's a free state, right? So there is no slavery in Ohio. So when he got to Cincinnati, he had an opportunity to those 18 enslaved individuals that he was taking to Kentucky. People were saying, man, you could be free. But this man had such honor. He has such integrity that he felt like, because he was entrusted with that responsibility of delivering those enslaved people, he did. He would later write in his narrative, in his life narrative, that that was one of the biggest regrets in his life. Only because when he gets to Amos Kelly, the brother, find out that one how cruel he was. So now his brother ends up telling him to sell the slaves. He needs the proceeds from the slaves, from the purchase of those slaves. And they're going to go to New Orleans, because New Orleans was the biggest slave trading port in the country at that point. So he's going to New Orleans. He knows that, man, when I get to New Orleans, they're going to sell me. Amos Kelly Jr., went along with him. Amos Kelly Jr. gets sick. I mean, really, really sick. So Josiah has to take care of him and then take him back to the plantation in Kentucky. Josiah now thinks like, wow, I've done this great thing. These people are going to give me my freedom. Nope. And then they would do things like they gave him a price. He negotiated a price of, I think, $450 to earn his freedom. He did a $350 down payment. He owed $100. The other brother in Maryland adds a zero. So now his cost of freedom is $1,000. So when he gets back from New Orleans, he's coming in, he's thinking like, oh man, guy is going to hook me up, right? Guy's going to take care of me. Wrong. So he goes back to visit the plantation in Maryland. You know, he's done real well. You know, they make him, they said, boy, there's a Methodist preacher. They said, man, you could be a preacher. And so he goes and he raises money. I think that was the first trip. He raises money to go in. He's all dressed up, the whole thing. his slave master in Maryland trips because how you looking so prosperous? You just a nigger. You a slave. Okay. He makes his way back to the plantation in Kentucky. Once he figured out that these folks weren't going to free him, then he decides, I'm going to take me and my family and we're going to Canada. So he worked it out. It was all the things that he worked out. His wife built a harness because I think he had a child that was 2 and 3, so he could carry them on his back. He practiced 2 weeks carrying them on the back so they'd be prepared for the trip. And so they got out. They headed towards Canada. They encounter, I hadn't heard this in a long time. They encountered First Nation individuals. Those are indigenous Indian people. And when the Indians saw them, they ran away. They were scared, only to come back, take them into their village. They said that they had their own teepee. They fed them. They prepared them for the trip up north. He makes it to Cincinnati. He meets because then they said, man, you can be free. And there was a boat pilot that took him all the way up to what Niagara Falls, and then he was able to cross over. As a matter of fact, must have been a tariff that you pay or something you paid in order to get into Canada. The pilot of the ship paid that. And as he's getting off the ship, and I'm paraphrasing what he said, he asked him, are you going to do good with your freedom? And the guy said, yes, sir. I'm going to do good with my freedom. He went on to become a minister. He started a black settlement there in Ontario. He ended up, again, being a preacher. He learned how to read. So there was this question because then Uncle Tom's Cabin became this, and we use this term, we call somebody Uncle Tom. That means that you're a traitor to your people, right? When you hear Uncle Tom, those of us who've been PWIs, one of the worst things they can call you is a Tom, right? But no, when you read Uncle Tom's Cabin, there's something else going on there. It talks about the integrity of this man to a fault, because I don't know, and we always say what we gonna do, but man, when I got to Cincinnati and we could have gone the other way, I was going the other way. And I guess that's what he figured out, because when he got dogged doing the right thing, having integrity, then he was like, oh, we going the other way. We getting ready to get up out of here. So there's this whole thing about his faith, his ability to be able to keep it moving. Some would argue that they think he had a moral responsibility to let those slaves go when they got to Cincinnati on the first trip. But there was a question of his integrity and his Christian witness. And so I asked myself the question, so was he a collaborator or was he a liberator? And then it was something that in watching that documentary, because they really spell it out in terms of just the inhumane conditions enslaved Africans were living under, you're trying to survive. That's the first human instinct. What does it mean to survive? Right? And what you're able to do in order to survive in that environment. But he did get to the point where he said, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's time to make a move. So again, I would so strongly suggest, one, you get Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin, and certainly Josiah Henson's biography, and watch this documentary. I think it was so eye-opening to me. And it just reinforced why I felt the way I felt about having to watch enslaved narratives, because it never comes off looking good. Never does. And then it gets to something, and I know someone had mentioned, I think Tyrone, or someone had called in and talked about Henry Louis Gates' piece on Blacks and Jews in America, and how in one of the episodes, there was a guy at the Seder who said that Black people should remember enslavement. Do not let anybody push us off this square when it comes to this idea that we need to know this history. We need to understand this history. And maybe if we learn more and more about this history, it might move us to different types of behavior, right? There's another book that I suggest, and I couldn't find my hard copy of it. It's called ooh, 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 by Randall Kennedy. Why I'm pulling the blank. Oh, Sellout. And this idea of what is a sellout? Who's a sellout? What's a sellout? I watched the documentary A Fuller Education on Dr. Howard Fuller. Insightful. There were things about Dr. Fuller that did not know, that contextualized his struggles and the things that he was about. And I'm gonna be honest, anybody knows there's one of these things I'm still digging my heels in on. I am not a proponent nor supporter of choice. I'll say that again. I am not a proponent nor supporter of choice. There's a whole lot that happened, and where it started off as something where we need to educate our own. Okay, that was Polly Williams and others. It turned into some things today that was not the original intent of choice. I'm against choice on a lot. I'm just on choice, just on numbers, because I say it all the time. If MPS is struggling and they're paying, now I think it's gone up to like 16,000 per student, and they're struggling, I'm trying to figure out how somebody could do it on 8,000 or 9,000. Okay. So I have an understanding. Understand there's some people that Dr. Fuller has relationships with that I would not have relationships with. But here's the difference in him having those relationships with those people. He does have brick and mortar. He did build an institution or institutions. And so on that level, then I'll fall back. But I think we have to, because one of the things about that helped Josiah Henson become a liberator was he got educated. I'll say it again. He got educated. Y'all, we have to pick up books. And we should not be the embodiment. If you want to hide it from Black people, put it in a book. No. We need to study. We need to study. And now I'm going to get real controversial. If we studied our history like we study the Bible, if we studied our history like we study the Bible, I don't know, we would be so much further ahead than where we really are. Yeah. It's called Redeeming Uncle Tom on Prime Video. All right, we're back. Oh, wow, okay. So I say that, and so people get frustrated with me. I know I had a listener call in one time. What kind of preacher are you? And I said, I'm one that reads. The biggest thing, one of the biggest things that white folks did to us with Black religion was to tell you to feel and not to think. To feel and not to think. To be more about an emotional experience than an edifying intellectual experience where one looks around and one sees what's going on and then comes up with a strategy to push back on it. So I say it again. If we read books like we read the Bible, we'll be so much further ahead. I was having a conversation with a young man. I really admired this brother. He got courage, just amazing. And he was talking about how he was going to study the Bible. And he was talking about, and I told him, I kind of pushed back on this a little bit. I heard Michelle Bryant in my ear, and he was talking about, so I could be more obedient to God. I got a problem with this word obedient. I really do. Obedience for Black folks takes on a totally different connotation. Now, I said I will take adherence, I'll take follower, but this idea of obedience where someone just put into, please, people don't study the Bible, that's why the country is like it is. That's interesting. I don't know what he meant by that. Okay. Um, but he talked about he was searching the scriptures. He was looking for an answer. And part of that had a lot to do with, without saying it, but I knew just because I knew some of his history, had a lot to do with his sexuality. And so he was looking, and so I asked him, I said, do you read the Bible from a deficit position? Do you read the Bible from what I'm not? Right? I'm this wretched person. I'm a wretch undone. Or do you look at it from a positive affirmation and from positive aspirations in terms of who we are or who you are as a person? Because we're one of the people that really promote this theology that I reject, that man is born inherently evil. I do not believe that. I believe children come here blank check, and they learn good and evil from the environment that they find themselves in. And I know people use Psalms 51. We were shaped and formed in iniquity. Take it all out of context. Rhonda has some, there's some t-shirts, she keeps them in my militant stuff, and talks about how we will take scripture out of context, right? But even Jews do not believe in inherent evil. We go from inherent evil, and then part of that idea of inherent evil means that you're less than. So when I'm reading it, am I reading it from a deficit where I'm already thinking I'm not much? Or am I reading it in terms of I can fully actualize myself as a human being? Because going back to, again, when I watched that documentary, it was obvious to me, and I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, how dehumanizing chattel slavery was in America. That whole dehumanization of descendants of enslaved Africans justified all kind of abhorrent, I can't even pronounce the word, behavior and treatment of Black people. We have to reject that. But part of that is you need to learn. You need to study. I need to study, right? Don't be afraid of the book. And I know when I was going off to college, people, they're gonna tell you that there is no God. I went to a Catholic school. God was everywhere. But God, if God is omnipotent, which means all-knowing, and it's about knowledge, then we need to be about knowledge. Sorry, I don't want to knock anybody off their square this morning. But, we take great comfort in that. Oh, no. It's like when the guy said he had the near-death experience and he saw Jesus. Said, what color was Jesus?
I'm not doing this with you today. I'm not doing this with you today, bro. Conspiracy.
Yeah. I mean, it turns into, who was the comedian that said that the way that we change folks, they said that by time 100 years from now, Michael Jackson will be white, right? So
it's so stupid.
There was a white man who lived back in the day. His name was Michael Jackson.
I'd love to see that one.
So 2,000 years, Jesus went from looking Semitic. What does the Bible said? His skin was like bronze. He had hair of a lamb's wool. To he looking like white Jesus with the chestnut hair, the well-groomed beard. That iconic is important. That's important. It's important because we should be followers of Jesus. And look, I'm not saying Jesus is African. I'm not even going to do that. I am going to say he was Semitic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because if you,
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's okay. It's Black History Month. So my ancestral church, and they still have at the church, beautiful picture of Black Jesus. Black people lost their mind up in that church. Now, again, this was the late 60s, early 70s. We hadn't done a whole lot of scholarship, but they were basically saying, Jesus ain't Black.
They were saying that was Rico, huh?
Yeah, that he. I'm going. Well, no, but he ain't white either. That picture of white Jesus up on the wall is not an accurate depiction of who Jesus was ethnic.
So
In terms of his ethnic. His ethnicity. There's a word.
So question. So
Question is.
Jerusalem is closer to Egypt, right?
Yeah. Than it is to Rome.
Right.
Okay.
So wouldn't that, because the majority of the people over in that area was colored?
Yeah, they get a little bit more sun. Yeah, they'll be a little darker. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I got a different question. Do you think it was black people on the boat with Noah?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm only doing that from the myth. Wasn't Ham the dark one? Wasn't Ham the one that Noah cursed? They then used that to justify dark people where we're allegedly cursed. And so we use that in terms of supporting white supremacy, that we were cursed because we're descendants of Ham.
Right.
No.
Now, because I was thinking, if there was black people that was on the ark with Noah, there was no way that those two chickens made it to the other side without being. There was no way they didn't get fried on the way. That's why I find it hard to believe it was black folks that was on the ark.
What happened to two-piece? We did two-piece get on this boat.
Where is the chicken?
Where is the chicken?
Yeah, you know it was two of
Or
them.
and then this is so funny. Did two pigs get on there?
Hey, man.
Did two fish get on there?
And then two catfish.
Hey, I'm just trying to figure this thing out. Because I'm like, hold on, there ain't no way them chickens last. Last that ark ride, ain't no way.
Hey, I got a question. Was it two flies, two ants? You know?
Yeah, that is that's problematic on a lot of different levels. You know, and I think it's, you know, and again, here we can be very literal, right? There are people out. There is a place in Kentucky, right, where they've done rebuilding the ark, right? Where they did the ark, but the numbers are not adding up because, you know, and so maybe if I looked at the story of Noah, and maybe if I looked at Charles Darwin's Origin of the Species, I'm probably going to fall more on the side of Charles Darwin than I am on Noah. Look, it was metaphorical, y'all. It you know, there are too many species in this world to believe that two of each of those species got on that ark.
I don't know, doctor, if the Bible said it.
Okay.
You got to take it for his word.
Okay. All right.
But I'm still wondering what happened to the two pieces of chicken.
All right. You're listening to Community Voice. The phone lines are open, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250, and we'll go and see what happened to those two chickens on the ark. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. See, that's why y'all got to show up for staff meetings.
Yeah, so you don't miss the cue.
Yeah, so you missed the cue. You just like the cue, man. The cue. You missing the cue. So anyway, we're having this discussion. I guess it's not a discussion. Oh, okay. We're gonna do the we're gonna do the sound of gospel, Black History giveaway. And thank you for doing Edwin Hawkins this morning.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Edwin Hawkins. Oh,
You know what? Since they did Edward Hawkins, you should create a question around Mr. Hawkins, like what was his number one hit, or what song is he stood?
it was his only hit.
But most people don't know that though.
And he wasn't one hit wonder because he worked with his brother, Walter Hawkins. But
Didn't he write?
I don't know if he was a co-writer. I don't know if he was co-writer on Changed.
Yeah, he was. Wonderful Change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that joint.
How could you forget it? That's like one of the greatest church songs ever written. It's up there with Amazing Grace to me, man, because Walter Hawkins, he talks about and I'm gonna do this in such a way, right out you get behind stage so you know what it is. So when you get backstage with people, a lot of times you get a chance to people a little bit more relaxed. The interviewer was asking me yesterday about me being in the room with Reverend Jackson, and I could say that I had a couple of opportunities being the pastor's study with Reverend Jackson and Reverend Wanzo and others. And like I said, he loved Black preachers. I mean, he had this respect for Black preachers. When I must have been about 16, 17, the Hawkins singers, and it was the Hawkins family, and they were on the same bill as Andre Crouch. And so a friend of mine who actually worked at WNOV at that point, we had tickets and we went backstage. And so I went, oh, okay, let's see what we have here. I wasn't prepared for that. Here's the point I'm trying to make. Because people think I'm trashing Pope, and I'm not. It was obvious if you were backstage that particularly the men were living their truth. And for a 16-year-old, that was kind of jarring. My understanding, I think I've grown since I was 16, but I'm gonna tell you, very homophobic. And I was talking to my friend, and we were talking about, I said, the worst thing, if you're an athlete, that someone could call you was fag. That was the worst. That was like the worst thing, right? And because all the connotations that went into that word. And but Walter Hawkins said something in an interview later. He said, because there was conflict, right? And because he knew what the church's position was on homosexuality, but he also knew what his truth was. And so there was that conflict. And he said, we spent so much time trying to police behavior, we didn't spend enough time trying to build the character of the person. And I admired him for saying that. He caught some heat because Sylvester was a member of his church. And when Sylvester was buried, he was buried full drag. And people lost their minds, because it's kind of where we were. And it was back having that conversation with this young man. Because I'm gonna tell you something, man. It's one thing, and he pointed this out to me. He said, how layered it was in these categories that you find yourself in. So then he said, not only am I a gay man, I'm a gay Black man. So I got to go with everything that goes along with being gay. And then I have to deal with everything that goes along with being a Black man in America and being gay. And I said, wow. So when he went in, he said that he was looking. So to hear the music that Walter Hawkins did, a lot of it was, Walter Hawkins ended up going to divinity school because, like Richard Smallwood, he wanted to have a deeper understanding. Of course, he became a minister, he became a pastor. But yeah, this is one of the things that when I was talking to Eric Wallace, and I said that one of my real frustrations with the black church in the 80s and 90s was our response to AIDS, and how I think we fumbled the ball. I think we got into some things based on our understanding, based on a certain level of ignorance, and people ended up dying that maybe would not have had to die. If we be able to be more open and honest about how we talk about issues around sex and sexuality. We believe what we believe, and then people will use the scripture to justify a belief. And even when I asked Mr. Wallace, I said, Reverend Wallace, because he's a minister. I said, so how often did Jesus talk about homosexuality? He didn't. I don't know anything. People will lump it in with sin. I think when people do that, but then I think we need to be very careful what we call sin, because for some of us, what used to be sin is really not sin anymore. And so to get that to say to Walter Hawkins, I guess I admired it. Certainly loved his music. And thank you, Lord. And I always get this line wrong, but he said this could have happened, but you did not see fit to let this be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like one of the coldest lines I ever, oh God, it was just like, but changed, I think, it should be the embodiment of our Christian experience, that I'm changed, that because the Bible says that if any man be in Christ,
it's a new creature.
There's a new creature.
Old things
pass away.
And behold.
Yeah, those Egyptians you see,
Yeah,
you will see no more.
Yeah.
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Thank you.
Hey, Joy.
Hey, this one is kind of even off the subject about what you're talking about, but since I like watching you more on YouTube and listening to you on the radio now, why is it that you can't hear the news thing and the songs and all that stuff when you watch? Is there a rule against that?
Yep. Yeah, it's licensed music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I prefer watching you guys on YouTube verse, but you don't get the same type of information, like when y'all play your commercials and all that other kind of stuff. Because I was wondering which Walter Hawkins song y'all were talking about.
It was Edwin Hawkins' "Oh Happy Day." That was the song.
Oh, Happy Days.
Yeah, he did
okay.
"Oh Happy Days." "Oh Happy Days" was a congregational song that he went in and put a new spin on in terms of how he did the arrangement on "Oh Happy Day."
Okay,
and that was crossover because it was playing on WNOV and WAWA. That's kind of like one of those first crossover gospel songs that got secular airplay.
Man, it was so big, man, that it actually made it into the movie
Mm-hmm.
Sister Act.
Yeah.
So you just said something that what we call sin back in the day is not considered sin today. Do you think that's maybe an issue why things are like they are? Michelle kind of made a reference yesterday about the new Tyler Perry movie.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the graphic scenes that were in there. And I think White House said back in the day, you would have to have like HBO at night or something like that for that even to come on. So right now it's 11 or 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Now let's say that you're at work and one of your kids is at home sick. They could just turn into Netflix and turn that on and watch that, correct?
Yeah. Well, that's why, you have the ability to put codes on your TV and things like that to keep your kids from watching certain stuff. I think that what Keith was saying, as far as the stuff that we used to call sin, is not sin today. Like as far as the older saints used to say, going to the movies on Sunday is a sin. Playing, basketball on Sunday is a sin. They actually used to say, and they used to use the scripture wrong. Marvel not, and they was like, well, you can't play marbles. Well, it wasn't saying marbles, it said marvel not. So they used to say, well, playing marbles is a sin. You still
Hello?
there?
Well, I'm listening. He went completely out.
Yeah.
I
So,
couldn't hear anything he was saying.
oh,
I was trying
wow.
to listen to what White Out was saying.
No, he was waiting on your response. I think that
Oh, you know what? Let me stop looking at the TV then.
So you're getting that 15-second delay.
you're getting a delay.
Oh, okay.
No, I think that there's certain things that we would have thought was called sin that really wasn't.
Yeah.
It was more behavior. So let me ask this question: is using profanity a sin?
According to the Bible.
Where does the Bible does it say using profanity is a sin?
Well, it says that the language that you use, it says you should not. Well, let's put it like this. Paul, I think it was Paul said, do not let any kind of foul language come out your mouth. So to me, that would be like, to me, I would understand that as cussing.
Okay.
Wouldn't you?
Well, the piece from cussing is really kind of a pejorative use of the word curse, to put a curse on a person. That's we say cussing them out. So is there a difference in the use of a word and you're not directing it at anyone? So for example, and some of us might admit to this, many of us might not. Have you ever like stubbed your toe? And if Jesus didn't come out, something else came out?
Well, that's because whatever is in you, Keith.
Okay, I got that, but is that a sin?
Well, yeah, because the Bible actually talks about and advises against using foul.
Matter of fact, I think it talks about it in James, guys.
No,
if I'm not mistaken.
Ephesians 4:29 and Colossians 3:8.
Read them for us.
So instructing believers to instead use words that build others up, impart grace, and show gratitude. Key verses like Ephesians 4:29, Colossians 3:8.
So
urges replacing curse, slander, and obscene talks with wholesome speech.
Okay.
But it also says in James, I think, don't let any know.
Is it a sin?
Well, the Bible warns that individuals will be held accountable for every careless word spoken.
Okay. So Matthew careless words could be
anything.
I hate you.
Yeah.
I think that could be part of. I tell you what, I used to cuss like a sailor. I mean, if a cuss word even comes out my mouth now, I would be surprised because I used to cuss like a sailor back in the day. Okay. All kind of foul language used to come out my mouth. So, I don't know if I started growing up or my spiritual walk now or whatever.
How important is how you use the word?
Well, I mean, Matthews 12:34-37 and Matthews 15:8-19 said words reflect the inner state of the heart. Foul language suggests a heart needing purification. So that's
really,
yeah.
And what I meant earlier, Keith, when I said most people don't, I believe most people don't read the Bible at all. Period. And when you said, you didn't understand that, and I guess it boils down to it. Even if you just look at it as a book, okay, you read it and you kind of go by just the golden rule: treat others like you want to be treated. I mean, if we just basically did that, you would think we would be better off people. If you just follow that, even if you didn't believe in God or Jesus, if you just followed the golden rule, treat others like you want to be treated, we would be living in a much perfect world.
And you know what? It's funny that you say that because I'm looking up this scripture because you was asking about James, right? The scripture in James. Okay, so James 3:10 says the contradiction of using the same mouth for both praise and cursing, stating that this is ought to not to be so, and that's James 3:10. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I think you're saying what it says. The same mouth that we.
Yep. Praise God.
Would say praise God where we tell her or cuss or whatever, and he said that shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think as human beings we're both profane and profound, and but I think and I've worked from the position of how you use a word, the intent of the word. You could not use MF, but you could tell a person they ain't nothing, and you never use what we would say was a profane word, but at the same time that was a profane sentence. So I mean, I think
and basically it's the same thing, Keith. I mean, you don't have to cut somebody out. You can still use negative words to hurt people.
Right.
And shame people. So yeah, that's what I think. And I didn't know this. One of the guys, I guess you were talking about one of the singers or something again, and you were kind of making it sound like he might have been gay.
Well, it wasn't. It might have been.
Okay, so I didn't know that about that history. So, but I mean, when I was thinking about it, there was this writer, and I can't remember his name at the time. Famous writer. He was gay, right? And then the guy that helped lead Martin Luther King.
B.R. Rustin.
He was gay, right?
Yeah.
And so you said something to me you said about the judging. Mm-hmm. And that's why sometimes when me and you get told off by our brother and said we going to hell because we don't judge them, that ain't my place to judge them. That's God, to judge them. That's not my place to judge them.
And I think that, I know that I'm probably on the progressive side of this argument. The church was the originators of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And I think that, it seems to be in certain strains of Christianity that sex is like the worst sin. Heterosexual sex, homosexual sex. And that's a big issue for us. And a lot of it is probably rooted in respectability politics. Respectability religion, where, this whole idea. But here's the one thing: human beings are sexual creatures. That is biological. It is necessary, right? Because if we were not sexual creatures, we would not procreate. That's what it's all about. And I know that after years of being programmed to think that one should be straight, and we do not acknowledge that there's a sexual spectrum and that people fall in different spots on the sexual spectrum. But again, that is something where you might want to, or I would suggest people study sexuality. I think for a lot of us, we're not going to study it, because if we study it, it's going to push up against a strongly held belief that we have when it comes around to sexuality. If we kind of understand its biological importance and deal with it from that, like, how do you teach young people about sex? You teach it from a position of health, and you teach it from a position of science, and then you talk about what then is responsible sexual behavior. That's hard, because what we did wasn't, and I've said this, prohibition doesn't work. I'll say it one more time. Prohibition doesn't work. As a matter of fact,
a waste of time and a waste of lives, if you ask me.
Right. Well, and the other piece of it, when you tell a human being they can't have something, all that does is increase desire to have that thing that they were told they could not have, or they could not do. Prohibition in America, the prohibition laws.
You let that run.
Huh? I didn't hear you.
I was trying to be funny. I said, like, white women.
See, there you go. Because I know what I've been told, right? Please don't.
I think you talked about this one day, and I'm like, where did that come from? My mama said to me one day, me and my 3 brothers, you better not ever bring a white girl home. I don't even think we were thinking about no white girls like that. And when she said that to us, we was like, okay, what's up with the white girls? Why we can't bring a white girl?
Right. Now, if you don't, and how many dudes that went out because they was told not to?
I'm dating white women.
Trying to figure out what it was.
Asian women. I mean,
but a lot of that had to do with there's some. Well, I want to say there's some history there. There is, because look, it's hard for Black people to look at white people and not think about all of the pain that we've endured in this country. If it's not just for a moment, and this white person is not even responsible for that pain, but they're a reminder of that pain, right? And I say this all the time. This is such an emotional issue for us, where Black people have the lowest rate of interracial relationships of any ethnic group in this country. I will say it again. Now, look at the athletes. They all got white girls. No, they don't. No, they don't. But the ones that you might see, you see a Tiger Woods, and then you go, well, no, that's Tiger. but there's a whole lot of them that's with sisters.
Right.
You know, and
I would think the majority of them are.
Right. The majority of black people marry black people. The majority of white people marry white people. The majority of Asians marry Asians. That has everything to do with proximity. That has everything to do with shared culture. There's a lot that go into what we find attractive. But let's get back to sexuality. But here's the thing about sex. This thing called love. Love will make you go beyond your type, because we really can't explain how you fall in love with somebody, right?
If you think it's love or lust.
Which is better, George? No, I think no, I mean, I think it is erotic. It is eros love, right? We got
I think personally, me, and I can't speak for anybody else as far as back in the day and even growing up liking, I think I want to be careful how I say this because it's gonna probably get me in trouble. I think lust probably comes before love.
No, I mean, I'm talking about though.
Because you got to be around somebody and get to know them. And I know I don't like saying falling in love. So I'm gonna say growing in love, but you got to spend time with somebody and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but what was the attraction?
The outer appearance.
It could have been a number of things.
Okay, but it wasn't.
You
it
said
wasn't
with you and
necessarily
Rhonda,
sex.
it was a shoe thing.
No, well,
And
no,
you,
it
you
was
kind of like some of the other stuff that y'all had in common.
No, I can tell you with Rhonda. Yeah, of course the shoes didn't hurt, but it was something. It was an intellectual thing that I had that I felt like she touched. You know, like, so people ask me, so what type of woman are you attracted to? And I say smart. And then we work into all the other kind of physical things, but, you know, or there's certain people that you just see and you're attracted to. And it's hard to explain how that chemistry works. That's why some of us, oh boy, this is really going to be, some of us hooked up with some people we had no business hooking up with.
I think we can maybe all testify to that.
but that was because of that physical or that, what is it called? Those no. Interferons. What is that? There's these indetectable, and I know somebody's listening. I don't have my phone, but if you text me, you got an Apple phone, I'll get it. That there's this thing. It's something that we release.
Hey, I'm gonna hang up.
Yeah, go, because I
took up a lot of time. Thank you, guys.
All right. Interferons is something that
I know what you're talking about,
and it's indetectable,
yeah.
but it's something like, and there was something about this person, and especially when they go against type. Right, where your whole physical thing that you really like, that's your thing, and then this person is totally different. I'll pull it up. I'll have the answer for you after the break. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Isn't it the talent is the presentation, right?
As long as yes, they can make it their own, bring their own into it, but we're really looking at them bringing out themselves.
Okay.
So, and then last year we had one little, she was like, the day before, she came and said, Miss Felicia, I'm not going to read a poem. I'm going to sing. And we were like, okay. And you know what? She sang. It was her. So there was no knocks against the last minute change. It was that she stood on that stage and she presented herself to be her. And then asked why she did it. She said, because everybody was reading poems. And I was like, oh, see, those are the kind of things that makes them unique.
So, not to get in trouble with the committee, what kind of poems were they reading?
Like I said, the majority of them, when they said they were reading poems, because when we doing the rehearsals, that's later down the line because we're first working on poise, walking, projection, and that. And then when they started to do the talent rehearsal, then we realized that most of them had written their own. So one of the young ladies, she had written about her family, and it was an honor. It was an honor for her to do that for her family. So when I say, not the basic poems, it's like I said, not going into the book and just pulling it out, unless you are one of those that's just gonna blow it out the box, but a lot of them had written their own. And so that was a lot, to see them come from starting out, like coming in the gym for rehearsal and be all timid, to watching them on the stage. I tell them every year, I don't be having time to cry. I be in the back just I'm trying to run the show, but I'm in the back crying because you see the growth, and the confidence in it.
I wish we'd had somebody as nice as you when we had to learn those little Easter pageant speeches.
Yeah.
There's some of us that are still traumatized from Easter speeches. Just be like,
my daughter participated in it, and I remember my mom with her every morning, like, you got to learn this speech. And I was
no pressure.
No
pressure.
And she was 6, and so it was like my mom was like, no paper. I was like, oh my God, I stayed out of it. So.
But it is. I like where you say that you see people really coming in because there was a talent. They probably didn't even realize that it was there, and now here's this opportunity. We all go in a little because that's you getting up in front of people.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I'll just talk about my own religious upbringing. You out there with a bunch of people out there, and for that's okay, baby. You got those other looks like that. Sit your look.
Bless your heart.
Right, bless your heart. That's when you know you're in trouble, right? Oh, bless your heart. I was like, ooh, I didn't really do well. I'm sorry.
Listen, I sing in the church choir,
Okay.
and every Sunday I still get up there nervous.
Oh, yeah.
So I get it. That's why I commend them. And when I have them rehearsing, I don't allow the parents to come because I want the kids to be them.
Relaxed. Yeah, because
and
stage parents.
Listen, the day of, they was like, and I was like, look, don't let this dress fool you. It's a way that you have a conversation, and some of them get upset because like it may not be their youth that wins, but you got as judges. It's the judges voted, and we did. I went to school with one of the young lady family. She was like, yeah, so and so did win. I was like, yeah, you win some, you lose some. I'm real sarcastic with it, so it don't help.
Now, is there scholarships involved?
Yes, there is a monetary scholarship for them, and it depends on every year. There's how much is it, and it's really based on what our sponsors do. How much we can raise before the pageant actually happens, and then sometimes people come after the pageant is over and want to give donations. So all the way up until Juneteenth.
So share with us the application process.
The application process is online. I always say the easiest way to do is to just go Juneteenth Milwaukee. If you Google Juneteenth Milwaukee, it will bring up the link instead of me saying www.juneteenthmilwaukee, spell everything out.com. You go online, you can complete the application. It's 20 questions, simple. And then the application is open now. It's actually open now. We start now, and it stops. It's closed April 17th, and the 27th we start rehearsal because we have a little bit over a month to get them to where we need them to be.
So are all of the participants, even if you don't win, are you still acknowledged?
Yes, we do give them a medal to say, you participated. And then we have first, second, and third place. We got the winners, then we got first, second, and third. So it's 16 people that can be recognized in each of those. Well, not in each of them, but in the 4 categories. But we do recognize those that come out and participate. Last year was one of the largest since I've been doing it. It's only been 2 years, but it's been the largest registration process for us. Like we had almost 40 applicants last year. So that was amazing to me. So to see it continue to grow under me, I'm proud of that because that means that we're getting the word out and the kids are spreading. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's the winners that go back and tell their peers about applying.
So, and one of the questions I was asking myself to ask you
Mm-hmm.
was, so let's say I'm 16
Mm-hmm.
and I win Mr. Juneteenth. Can I compete next year?
No, once you have the title, you cannot compete again. But if you don't win the title, if you're runner up, you can continue to apply and participate until you win, if you win. So that's one of the things is that once you have the title, hold the crown, you don't get to compete again.
I mean, the same people don't get to
Exactly.
win every year. They might get voted again every
Exactly.
year. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
cool.
The only time that may happen, and that's unfortunate, is if they don't have participants in the category.
Well, so let's see. Always trying to figure out, Clark, how to break a rule, right? So let's say that I'm Junior Mr.
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth. Can I compete then for the Mr. Juneteenth?
You don't compete. So what happens is,
No, I'm saying if I win it this year,
you don't get to compete.
even with the big, because I'm moving up in category.
Well, if you Mr. is 14, right? Little Mr. goes up to 13. I'm sorry.
Right.
So if you're 16, you're not in that category.
No, but I was 13. I won it.
Okay. You want Little Mr.
I won Little Mister.
You can compete for Mr. Yes.
Dynasty.
Hey, if that's what you want to do, if your family want to take you to that next level, that's absolutely fine.
Cool. No, that's cool though.
But so we do have sometimes, like 1 year we didn't have Little Misters, so the previous Little Mister carried for the next year crown. So there's always someone in place in that category.
Okay. So again, let's get because we need to start the application process now. So let's give folks information.
Yes. So if you're interested in participating and being in any of the categories, you can go to www.juneteenthmilwaukee.com, and Juneteenth is spelled out. That's JUNTEENTH, and Milwaukee is spelled out as well, .com. And then you would go to the website. As soon as you go to the website, you'll see our glorious winners from last year. And then you would go to Juneteenth pageant and complete the application online. And that's as well as for the parade. If you want to participate in the parade, and if you want to be a vendor for Juneteenth, all of those applications can be found on the website, and they are now live.
Thank you for that parade thing. Please register for the parade. Let me say it one more time. Register for the parade. Yeah, I mean, people try to sneak in.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
On the parade.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, dude, that's why
Last
the parade
minute.
be like 2-3 days long.
What do you mean trying to sneak in, trying to get in the parade line? Where the parade going?
And that's the thing, like, because we're busy. Like, I'm busy trying to get the kids together, and I want to thank the Milwaukee Corvette Club. I think that's their name, Bruce City Corvette Club, because they allow our kids to utilize their vehicles to be in the parade. But please be mindful and respectful, because again, it is a lot to coordinate that, because before I was over the pageant, I did work with the parade, and it was last minute, people trying to sneak in this and that. And I'm just going to say, it's not the regular people, it's those people in offices and stuff. But try to be mindful. It's open now, so let's make it happen.
Right. Be legit.
Key. Yeah. Can I ask a question? Can you give me a story on the people that tried to sneak in? Do you have a story?
it's just last minute. Like I said, it's last minute people who don't complete the application and say, oh, I'm here. And then, because of who they are and whatever position they hold, they were allowed to participate. Yeah, they were allowed to participate. But the parade committee said this year, no.
Because I was asking Tony, I said, man, that parade was long. And he was like, yeah, well, and then you be going like, dude, I know you didn't register, man.
But the thing about that as well is if they don't register, there is a 50 each year. There's a fee to participate. So if you don't pay that fee, then you're slighting something like the parade may need to do something that funds the parade committee to be able to do what they need to do. Gotcha. So if you don't pay that fee, then they miss out on some things that they need, especially if you got maybe 10, 15, 20 people that come at the last minute. So
Ms. Felicia Williams,
yes,
part of the Juneteenth organizing committee, Mr. and Miss Juneteenth, little Mr. and Miss Juneteenth. Again, if people want to register their children, they can go to juneteenthmilwaukee.com. And again, you can go Google and put in Juneteenth Milwaukee. Make sure you put Juneteenth Milwaukee. I don't want you registering in Texas somewhere and then you mad because you ain't on the list. So make sure you put Juneteenth Milwaukee, and it will pop up 2026, and you can click on the link and it will take you there. Appreciate you. Always good seeing you.
Thank you.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Keith Parris.
Welcome back. As Jermaine was there, asking the caller to call back. Yeah, man, I can hear. Call back, man, because I'm gonna need you on my side. Back there.
Hey, man, I'm trying to build my team.
Form your conspiracy. Okay. All right. So let's do the giveaway of the Sound of Gospel Black History giveaway. So what is the question I want to ask today? Let's see if people are actually paying attention. Okay. All right. Here's the question. Uncle Tom's Cabin was based on this individual. Uncle Tom's Cabin was based on this individual. He was a real live person. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. See if you're paying attention. Uncle Tom's Cabin was based on this real individual. All right. So as we wait for people to call, how long does it take to Google? So this is when you experience love, your brain releases feel-good hormones, including dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. These hormones enhance your mood and overall sense of well-being. Dopamine is the reward hormone, which reinforces pleasure we feel from love and encourages us to seek more of these feelings. All right. So that's what it is. Those are the things that we know. Those are the hormones that are released. Carla, welcome to the program.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Hosea Henson. I have his first book. It's a little black hardcover.
Uh-huh.
And I brought it to my students in school who he was.
Excellent. Well, that's absolutely correct. Thank you. Why don't you stay on the line? You've won tickets for Sound of Gospel. That's February 22nd.
Saturday, right?
All right. Thank you.
Sunday.
Sunday.
It's Sunday. Yeah, Sunday after church.
Sunday.
All right. So hold on. Jermaine will get your information.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Yeah, Chief. I just want to say, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, it kind of got an echo.
Okay, let me do something real quick, okay? Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to say something. I didn't know anything about Juneteenth. I'm from Colorado. Nobody ever celebrated Juneteenth. I didn't even know what Juneteenth was.
Mm-hmm.
And one time I went up to Milwaukee, your city, and I said, what are all these black people celebrating about? It seemed like they were happy. And I mean, I didn't, like I said, I guess it depends on what part of the country you are living in, because I don't remember people ever celebrating it where I was.
Okay.
And now it really exploded across the country. And now we have our Juneteenth here. They have about 34 cities or maybe 5 cities in Colorado. And they have the same thing that she's having, the Juneteenth king, queen. In fact, my cousin's daughter she was one of the queens here.
Okay.
And one of the cities in Colorado.
Yeah, we it started back in the day. If it's 55 years old, that means that would put us back in, I think, the early 70s. And it just clicked. Now they were doing it down in places like Galveston, Texas. They did it in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But even I had there was a young lady. She was married to a professional basketball player that played in Milwaukee for about 2 years, Fred Carter, and his wife. She was from Washington D.C. And when Fred came back to Mount St. Mary's to coach, his wife said, "Oh, you're from Milwaukee?" I go, "Yeah." She said, "What's that thing where y'all shut down the streets and y'all had thousands of people?" I said, "Man, that was Juneteenth," because they weren't even doing Juneteenth in D.C. But we've been. It's one of those things that we were kind of unique. We've had some good ones. We've had some crazy ones. but it is, and now Juneteenth is a national holiday. So,
Right.
yeah,
right.
we did
But
it.
it's really expanded, like I said. As I met, in fact, I met some people, I think 20, 30 years ago. They were some of the same people that you see the events in Milwaukee. They were here in Colorado.
Right.
They were trying to sell their wares, and some of the people were telling me they traveled the country. Some guy came from Washington, D.C. He said, man, it was 1,700 miles. And he was ticked off. I said, because people weren't buying anything. There was quite a number of black people down there. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so it's not just a black festival. I mean, so they're just trying to make it open to everybody. I mean, like different ethnicities, like who want to come. I mean, because black people go to Irish.
Freedom Day,
black people go to.
We have more and more Africans, indigenous African people who are part of it, which I think is important because it kind of goes back to our roots. But you're correct. It's and now because it's a national holiday, you're seeing Juneteenth in parts of the country that didn't. There was a map that they showed where and north of the Mason-Dixon line, there was only maybe one or two cities that even did Juneteenth. Most of the celebrations were in the South, and we were one of those cities. So,
yeah. Then, like I said, it was like I said, I when I first saw it, and now I mean, then it was really. I think somebody said in the 80s and 90s it really exploded. Yeah, because a lot of people didn't know what it was about.
We were doing it in the 70s.
You guys have a lot of people from Texas up there and Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
Today is Ash Wednesday. Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, no, I'm watching The View, and there's two Catholics, and they have their ashes on. They must have gone to mass. Today is because yesterday was Fat Tuesday, and it just kind of got past me. I asked Rhonda last night. I said, "Today Fat Tuesday?"
Keith.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of black people up there from Texas? Because that's Texas, Oklahoma up there.
No, not really.
Most of the black people there, not indigenous, but you know what I mean. Black Americans in Milwaukee come from.
We have a segment here from Texas, but when you look at Milwaukee, we really drew from Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas. There were some people up here from Texas, but it wasn't like our real big population because our pipeline was Mississippi. You know, now my folks are from Tennessee, but that pipeline from Mississippi came up. A lot of folks up here from Mississippi. Yeah. Wow. A lot of Mississippians up here, man. And I tell you, and Arkansas, it looks like it's a close second. Yep. A lot of people up here from Arkansas. Appreciate you, man.
All right. Because one last thing. Okay, one last thing. I noticed that they were doing something about Black history, and they were showing this book, and they were talking about how Black people traveled, and they were talking about the one where they went to California. A lot of those Black people came from Louisiana and Texas. Texas went to California. And
what is that? Is that a Warmth of Another Sun by Isabella?
Yes.
Isabel Wilkerson.
Yeah, I read the book, and I was just. It's a very good book, but it lets you know what was going on in the 40s and the 50s due to segregation.
Right.
But she also talks about. They also mention your city, Milwaukee, in there too.
Yep. Yeah, we had a. Yeah, again, I was just talking to someone last night, and our folks, my grandfather got to Milwaukee in 1937. And so, you know, my mom literally grew up in Milwaukee. I'm first generation born here, but my mother, they came up, and then there was another group. We saw 50s. The war obviously brought a lot of people north. Yeah. And then in the 60s, we saw because you began to see more mechanization going on in terms of the South and how they were harvesting and dealing with cotton, less and less need for human labor. And then people just couldn't deal with it was tough in the South, man. I mean, and again, when I was watching that documentary and to hear this term so South was like you going to, it's bad in Maryland, but it's awful in Texas. It's awful in Mississippi, right? Because there's a totally different piece going on in terms of how that enslavement was being executed. So, no. All right, man. Appreciate you.
One last thing is I was doing my genealogy, and I was tracing on, I was looking at where did my folks come from, and I Even though I'm in Colorado, a lot of them started on the East Coast, Virginia,
Right.
North Carolina. And then when I was looking, I said, oh, this is interesting. This person was born here. And I guess when they were sold, they were moving around the country and everything when they were selling them across the country.
Right. All right. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking my call. I really do.
Okay. All right. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. So George is biological, man. You know, fool around, fell in love.
Fool around and fell in love.
Man. Didn't Shakespeare say that 'tis better to love? Let me pull this up. Shakespeare's "'Tis better to love." Here we go. Here we go. Oh, and I always say that it's Shakespeare. It doesn't. It is Tennyson. "'Tis better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all." Alfred Tennyson.
That sounds like a lyric to a song.
It is. It's a poem. Yeah. Call him up to the program. Calhoun Tubbs. Call him up to the program.
Am I on or you guys still talking?
Good morning.
Hi. I was share a story. I watched the Howard Phillips documentary.
So
and
you're kind of breaking up there a little bit.
Excuse me?
You don't have us on speaker, do you?
No,
Okay.
I cut you off speaker. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're better now. There you go.
Okay. Okay, we watched the Howard Fuller documentary.
Uh-huh.
And an interesting thing is that my husband and I are both from North Carolina, so he went to HBCU in Durham, and I went to a PWI. But he was there in Durham during the time that Howard Fuller was down organizing the Malcolm X Liberation School.
Uh-huh.
And so when he would come to visit me at my institution, you know, the kids there thought he was radicalized because of all the stuff he was sharing about what Howard Fuller was saying down in Durham.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, come, I say 5-6 years later, we end up moving to Milwaukee. My husband came here to further school. And we saw Howard Fuller come out of a grocery store one day. And my husband yells out his African name, I guess the name he was, you know, going by when he was down. And it was so just, you know, unbelievable that in the span of time we could end up in the same place that, and there was all this history attached. And, you know, it was just, and just as we watched the documentary, it was just an interesting story to, you know, to kind of recapture the fact that, and it's interesting how you can have contact with people and never have any more for many years, and then all of a sudden you're in the same location. You know, and you may not even have any contact then, other than knowing that who that person was, right, and what part they played in your educational process. But that, yeah, I was just thinking that was interesting.
Yeah. So, what did you think of the documentary?
I liked it. I mean, I think it tried to capture a full picture, and you know, I thought it was informative as well as you know, inspirational, just in terms of what one person strives to do and how they view a mission. You know, whether or not we all are on the same page at any point, that still shows that when we put forth the effort to go after what we believe is a principle that needs to be emphasized, mm-hmm, then, you know, we have a degree of success, and as a community, we can appreciate that.
All right. Well, appreciate you. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, General. I'll say this about my brother just today. One thing he made me believe in growing up as a young man. As well as Andrew Douglas, I'd like to give him shout outs too. You know, I was apartment night myself. They taught us to believe in ourselves, especially being a young black man growing up in this struggle and knowing what this society is about. You know, that's one thing I knew about listening at this radio station, from Walter G. Beach all the way up. But he said, I am somebody. I may be unemployed or whatever he would say. You know, whatever you was going through, you can feel it. You can feel it power. You can improve yourself. And that's what I improve about. Any black man can teach a young black man growing up in a single home family. And they made us feel important. So that's what I can say about Jesse Jackson. You know, he still made me be black and proud to be a young black man. You know, we ain't gonna be no stereotypes, and we didn't grow up like no stereotypes. But I say this about Jesse Jackson and a whole lot of other black men out here now in Paris. So shout out to the strong black man.
All right, man. Appreciate it. All right, peace. And someone had put in the chat, it is a Fuller Education, and it's on PBS. I know it's local. I'm assuming it's going to be nationally run, but they premiered last week. There was a screening at the Oriental, and it was on Tuesday night. So it's called A Fuller Education, and it really talks about Dr. Fuller, his life, and how he, you know, this uplift of black people has been his life journey. Caller, welcome to the program. No caller? Okay. All right. Yeah. Fool around and fell in love. Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Whew. I couldn't do any love songs for Valentine's Day this past Friday because DJ shut all that down. Clark. So here's the thing about now I can tell you, Dr. Fuller was my boss when he was over the Department of Health and Human Services at the county, and so we did a fundraiser over at Tap One, and it was Battle of the DJs, and it was me and Dr. Fuller. And they had a trophy and everything. And so he won. So I had to go to his office or something. And I come in and he said, Keith, have a seat. And Clark, he pointed at the trophy. So I guess you know I lost, right? And he wanted to remind me. He pointed at the trophy. I said, man, it's bad enough that I lost where I lost, but then you gonna remind me, and I'm like, huh?
And point at the trophy.
Oh man, yeah, he had the trophy up in the office, and look, the people was voting. They all worked for him. They didn't work for me.
Right.
I wish I would have won. A whole lot of people wouldn't have had jobs.
Oh, you've been that time. Sore loser.
They looking at me going like, "Hey, dude, I would vote for you, but you know, no, Howard was good." I forgot. Boy, that's another story. I forgot all about that until this moment when I remember. I don't know what we had to go to. It was a meeting about something, and I was in his office and. Yeah, he lit up when he saw me, boy, like, oh, another one bites the dust. That's the thing about people don't know about Howard. Like, he loved music, man. Thought he was a DJ, but yeah, he got that trophy. Caller, welcome to the program. What? How come they hang up after they talk to you, Jermaine?
Because I told them to call me on my bat line, 777-9311. So how come they hang up when they talk to you?
Oh, no, man, you don't want to. No, man. Because see him back there whispering Clark, and I don't know what he be over there like.
He said, why they hang up?
Oh,
you was
man,
crazy.
man. No, you crazy, man. I ain't
Yes.
Wait. He said, hey, man, why they hang up when they talk to you?
That's what Keon used to do, especially if they agree with Keon. Yeah, you can hear him on there. Yeah. I'm gonna get you in. Yeah. You tripping? Yeah.
He be talking loud, but you can
Yeah,
hear
he's
him.
like, dude, I'm sitting here. And- Hello, hey, I'm here. Maybe you might want to leave the room before you talk about me behind my back. Carla, welcome to the program. Good morning. Yeah.
Keep breaking up Howard Fuller. He ain't dead, is he?
No, man, he ain't dead.
Okay, cause I know I've been hearing a lot about him lately. I
'Cause we was
just want to
talking
make
about the
sure.
he's
Cause
in
I
the
turned in
documentary,
late.
man.
Hey, I was listening at Miss Stills, and I dozed off.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right, man, peace. Right. See, that's I had more people. I remember someone somebody had called in, and you pick up on bits and pieces of the conversation, right? So Dino had called in because we were having this theoretical discussion. Would you prefer to be a field slave or a house slave? Dino called in and said, well, they put all the retarded slaves in the house.
Wait a minute. Wow, that's crazy. No,
So someone called me afterwards. They said, y'all was talking about retarded slaves? I said, no.
Oh, they just heard the
They heard the retarded slaves. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, Keith. Good morning.
Good morning.
Man, I was thinking about something that you guys were talking about, or Michelle was talking about this morning when she was castigating that guy for talking about people's clothes. And I kept thinking, I don't think I ever had an incident with clothes, but hey, man, I did. In 1966, I think it was 66, somebody gave my mama a leather coat, said, you can give this to your son. And so I tried, she had me tried it on, and it fit well. I said, I was proud. I was saying, shoot, I'm going to wear, as soon as I get a chance to wear this, it's going to be cold, but I'm going to wear this to school. Man. And I didn't get a chance to wear it to school, but the first night I put that on in a December night, went outside, was standing on the bus stop, and it was cold. Do you know, I stood out there long enough that the coat froze. It wasn't leather.
Clever.
I didn't know that. It was vinyl. Man, that thing started popping. That thing started popping just like the ball. You take your fingers, man, it cracked.
You said it's gonna break it apart.
Pieces start falling out.
Whoa.
I said, "Oh no!"
Oh, yeah,
I can't go
pleather.
nowhere. I was on my way to the dance and that on the bus. I think I had to turn around and say, "I'm sorry, I ain't going in there with no coat to just toe up."
Hey Tyrone, I was at Parkman, and we were Afrocentric. We were the blackest school ever, right? And the Black Panther Party was kind of at their heyday, so everybody wanted to wear those black leather coats, right? I wanted a black leather coat. My mom ain't buying me a black leather coat, but my mom had a friend. Y'all was talking about those mobile markets. Yeah, that's what he did. So he hooked me and Gary up with these leather coats. So I go to school. I go to Parkman. I can gun because that's all we did at Parkman. And so I come in and I'm thinking I'm sporting a leather coat. These Negroes talked about me from one end of the hall to the other end of the hall. And then to add insult to the injury, then I have the same experience Tyrone had. I get out on a below 32 day and the coat broke.
Yeah.
It broke.
That was a Spartan coat.
I said it broke. Oh my God, dude, that's hilarious.
And ever since, so then I go to Mr. Cornell, my mom's friend, and I said, my buddies at school was calling this coat pleather. He said, no. And Cornell was always cool. Cornell said, no, Keith, that's virgin leather.
It ain't been broken in yet.
Yeah.
Virgin leather.
That's the same way with suits. I mean, I never could figure out what was a cheap suit. But I always based my purchase of a suit on cost. I mean, till the first time I got a $400 or $500 suit and a $100 African the king suit that used to cost $400. And I remember, I'm sitting up and I'm looking at these guys in this meeting. Their suits don't look the same as mine. I thought mine was the right kind of suit, but it needed to be ironed more.
Oh, you a wrinkle.
Oh, you look like a chiller.
I sit down and I get up.
A chiller suit.
Like, you better go to the laundromat, bro.
That cat had on a chiller suit.
So I guess over time you figure it out.
Yeah,
And
but I'm gonna
then
tell you
I would
something.
buy something. Hey man, do your wife judge your clothes? I bought something. I came, put it on for us to go somewhere. All of a sudden she walked in the room and said, I know you ain't wearing that. You ever had that experience, Keith?
No comment.
Oh.
Hey, let me think. I gotta go, man. Let me think. Again, y'all, Uncle Tom's Cabin, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Josiah Henson, My Journey, His Journey. Those are the suggested books. And again, the documentary is Redeeming Uncle Tom on Prime Video. Another documentary we also alluded to today was A Fuller Education on Dr. Howard Fuller. So let me thank Miss Felicia Williams. Clark, let me thank you. Jermaine, let me thank you.
Yes,
all the listeners, I want to thank you. The good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.